So then basically, we need to have calculations for this and this wall. That's different from calculations for this one, because this wall has a variable height here and here. Depending on where I'm on the wall, the height changes. But this one's a constant height. All right, so we got to take that into account on these spaces when we have sloping walls. It wasn't the case for bedroom number one. Bedroom number one was very, straightforward, flat ceiling, constant height. But this one has variable heights. These are sloping walls. And so this one's constant and these are not. And so we have to take that into account. All right, so how are we going to do that? Our worksheet for Jones isn't accurate. We need to have something for not constant heights and the non-constant deducts. In the end, we should have a formula for the total square footage. Okay, so let's go here. If you can click on to the whatever tab you've got your accent, we're going to start working around this. Now in this one here, again, I gotta say, I don't think perimeter is the right word for this. So I'm going to change this to perimeter/lineal feet. We're really talking about lineal feet of wall. So let's go ahead and do that. And that way, it's perimeter if it's the whole room, but if it's not the whole room, if it's parts of the room, then it'll be lineal feet. Then this cell has been grouped together. You can see up here at the top when you click on it, it says merge and center. Let's take it off merge and center. So we have different classifications here. All right. And then actually I'm going to merge and center this one here. So in this one, I'm going to say constant height will be constant height. All right, so what won't be a constant height? Well, going back to the model, in all honesty, none of these are constant height, are they? Let's go back. This wall here is going to be 8 feet. This wall here is going to be 8 feet. So this is not 8 feet. So we got to take into account that we've got different wall heights depending on where I am on this. We've got sloping walls, we've got unique wall heights, and then we've got the constant or the standard wall heights. So I'm going to go ahead too and make sure that all the border, outside border for that is done. Click on that and click on outside border here. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it over here. And I'm going to paste it over here. This one is going to be sloping. And this one's going to be unique. This will cover all the heights of that space. So constant height will be for the room that's all 8 foot tall. I might call this standard height. Just standard. That could be a 9-foot ceiling, 10-foot ceiling. What's the standard height of the whole building of that level, okay? And hopefully that will be good enough to keep going forward with this assignments. But the sloping height and the unique height. Now these formulas are still the same. We just got to change the numbers. So for our Jones, we have no standard height wall in this particular example. All of our Jones are unique wall heights or sloping wall heights. So if we label this wall A and this one B and this one C, we can figure things out, and it's kind of good to just label all these out. On this one, we could add more walls. So E, if applicable, we can keep on going. For right now, we have all wall A, B, and C. Well, what are they going to be here? Let's clear this out as well. Let's clear these out as well. So wall A, B, and C, there are no standard heights. A and C, however, A and C are, we have a distance for them. All right, so A and C, we've got a distance for them. And they are sloping walls. So A, I'm going to call out as 14.67. And C is 14.42. And wall B is a unique height. It's not the standard height of the building, so it's 2.5 feet. Yeah, I think you start seeing what we're doing here. We're going to have different columns we have a big spreadsheet we can use. We have different columns for the different wall heights we encounter. If we only had standard height, like the bedroom, then what we've got is good enough. But we're talking sloping and unique heights. All right, so let's go now to the next one. Find area square foot to be covered. Well, we multiply by the height. Well, in this height, there is no 8 foot anything, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to copy these cells. Copy, and I'm going to paste it here. All right, so for sloping height, we calculated that the average sloping height was 9.83, basically 9 foot 10. I rounded that up a little bit because we're basically taking this sloping and taking half of it and moving it over to the other side. That's automatically. So it's 9.83. All right, so the sloping height, I'm going to multiply by 9.83. However, the middle wall is basically 11 foot 8. So that will be 11.67. And again, these formulas update, and that's what we want. So far, so good. So now we have to worry about deductions. And I'm going to select this. And I'm going to do copy, go here, paste, go here, paste. And I'm going to go here and do the rest for this as well. Copy, go here, paste, go here, paste. All right, so we've got the different pieces, and we got it here. But you know, it's kind of hard to see some of this stuff and where we're at, and especially if I'm trying, you know, going across is going to be it's just kind of tricky going across. So there's something in Excel that's really useful. It's called freeze panes. It's a very useful thing for you to have long spreadsheets going horizontally or vertically. So I'm going to click here on cell B3. I want these headings to stay. I want these words to stay, but I want these numbers to slide around as necessary. So if you click on this cell and go to View and click on Freeze Panes, we've got different options. And they show the little pictures to show what they do. And really, this is the one that I'm choosing. I want the top, anything above this cell, anything to the left of the cell to stay. So click on Freeze Panes. And now as I go across, you can see the advantage of that. Because now they line up. And then I can go back. And I can tell because look, A, and it goes right to K. So something's going on here. Which, by the way, there's something also weird. These cells are hidden. Right click, unhide. I don't know where these cells come from. I don't know what's supposed to be in these cells. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete them. Again, it's just all this weird stuff that came with this formula that I still have a D that's missing. There. Hopefully we now have A, B, C, D, E, F. These were blank cells. I think there may have been other pieces of her formula that she left here, but we don't need them. But so if we go across and if we go down, you can see where I'm coming from or what's working for us here, because we can now really get close to the different pieces. So in this situation, there really is nothing here. These numbers need to be deleted. There is no numbers here to look at. Nothing to look at. Moving right along. Okay. All right, so our standard height is going to be 0 in this particular case. Moving on to sloping height. This is true. Okay, that's fine. The square feet, the math is going to be what it is. That's fine. Do we have anything on these walls that are sloping? And the answer is yes. We've got this 3-foot door, and we've got this 6-foot door. So we've got, these are the deducts, the deduct A. We got a 3-foot cased opening. There's one of them. And I think it's supposed to be 6'8", so 6.67 tall. We've got a 6-foot door, and there's one of those, and they are also 6.67 tall. There's nothing else here. Then this last one is the deduct basically of the fireplace, which we said was 5 feet by 5 feet. We have a 5 foot by 5 foot. That's going to be tile or brick or whatever. It's going to be something other than the wall that gets painted. This is all happening on the sloping walls, so that looks good. And so this deduct is still the C, B, and A elements. Right? You add them together, that's all the deducts we have. For the unique height, let's move over a little bit here. For the unique height, well, there's nothing. There's nothing there. So there's nothing on that little wall portion. It's just a solid piece of wall. Nothing to. All right, so we've got the areas that we need now. We've got the area of the standard height, which in this case is 0. The area of the sloping height, which in this case it's 85.03 of the total, and then the unique height is 0 because there's nothing else. There's no openings there, but they're all there. They're all kind of accounted for. What's the total square feet needed for coat 1 of paint? Step 2 minus step 3. Let's go back a second. I think for this total deduction, we've got to work on that a little bit. We got the 3 deductions. So for the square feet of paint needed now, it's not going to be a simple B12 minus B33. So looking at this total square feet needed, we kind of need to combine all the deducts. We kind of need to combine all of the gross area. So I think we need to add a row here just to make it maybe easier on all this. So here I'm going to select this row here. I'm going to do insert. I'm going to go ahead and type in gross square footage of walls. So I don't need, I'm going to get rid of that coloring in there. We don't need the coloring in there. So this would be equals this plus this plus this, right? That's the gross square footage of wall. And that is going to be square feet. And we might as well, you know, put lines in it like everywhere else. Done. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make this one bold because this is really a major number. So these are all the partials. That's a major number. And honestly, I'm going to even give it one more shot. I'm going to give it a little bit heavier coloring there, just to know that, hey, this is something that's a kind of a combined. Maybe that might be a better word for it. Combined square footage of walls. All right, that way we know that this is something different. So then the same thing down here. This thing here about deduction, I can just delete that. We don't need that. We really don't need that. Deduction A, B, and C. So down here under total deductions, I'm going to do insert. Again, the same thing. And because this is exactly the same relationship, right? This one's going to here, this one's talking to here, this one's talking to here. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. I'm going to select this, copy, and go down to this row, select this, paste. And double check. See, it copied the formula. Double check, and yeah, this plus this plus this. The difference is this combined square footage of deducts. At this point, we now have an accurate number because now I can go to here and say, what's my total square feet I need for one coat of paint? If I double click this, I can see I've got that cell's not quite right, that one. So I just do this. I just grab this by the corners and drag it down. See that what I just did? You can I can drag this anywhere I want on the spreadsheet. Just drag it down and go over here on this one and drag this one down as well. Having these visual clues is really helpful. And you can see that now I'm saying B13 minus B34. The combined square footage of the wall surface, the combined square footage of deducts, and we now have that as our number. If we do 1.7 coats of paint, we get this as the paint. If the square foot garbage per gallon is 400, this is how many gallons we need. We need 1 gallon of paint to purchase for that wall, if we can paint at 1.7 coats. So we said that the gallon of paint cost $87.99. I think that's from one of your exercises. I just picked a number from there. And that we needed brushes and a paint tray. And that was part of the lecture for the data you got from there. And the painter will be charging $2 per square foot. So there's $2 per square foot. So let's take a look at this formula. All right, so this makes sense. The multiplying the dollars a square foot, yep, B54, times the square foot we're covering, times the roundup of the number of coats. Yeah, this is exactly what we need to say. This looks good. So this formula here, again, look how nice that is with the way it kind of holds the heading here as we go up or down and as we go across. It really becomes very, very useful, I think. And then these kind of also give us a really close look. Wait a minute, these are special combined square footage information. And we have all this here. And so, again, if we need to add more walls, I would click in here and do insert row and so forth, and I'd add more walls. Instead of wall E, I'm going to call this one. So that's kind of the last wall. So you keep adding walls if you need to. Thank you for going through this. I will send this to you showing the Jones sloping accent wall with the correct information there. You need to get that into your worksheet. Unless you want to keep this separate, you might need to get into your worksheet. Select this corner right here, this little corner right here. Click on it, it copies the whole worksheet. You can right-click, copy, then go to your worksheet you have in class, select this corner here, right-click, paste. You want this paste, and it should come in just fine. All the formulas would come in as formulas, and it should be okay. Then the only thing you need to do to freeze pane is to click on this cell here, B3, and click on this freeze panes. Go to View, Freeze Panes. And then this should work like this. When you go across, or you put it down here, go sideways, it should work just fine. If you ever want to get it off, just click and do unfreeze panes, right? I mean, if you don't like it, you don't have to use it, of course, but it really becomes very handy, especially when we start working on wall coverings and so forth. Thank you for your time.